Hi, this is Jahangir from My Property Portal. I am one of the business development officers at My Property Portal. In this video, I am going to talk about owner payout and all about its functionalities. So our discussion topics today is the explanation of the owner interface, then how can you generate the owner payout items, and how to recreate if you have any issues with the numbers, and how can you record owner payout, and the lastly it will be about the disbursement report that is you prepare for the owners. Okay, so let's dive in into the demo. So when you are in the dashboard, and then on the left side under accounting, owner payout section, if you click on that, and you get this interface. So this is the owner payout section, and there are many important features in this interface, and we're going to go one by one. First of all, as you can see, the interface, the first button on the left, it says disbursement report. So this is a quick way to go to all the disbursement report for all of your properties. Okay, then on the top right side, you have the option to search management fee income. So this button allows you to check if there is any already there is a management fee invoice created for a particular month for a particular property. If it's not, going through this button will allow you to create the management fee invoice or recreate management fee invoice. This is search management fee income. This is a very important button if you are dealing with owner payout. Bulk payment in this section allows you to pay owners in bulk. So all the line items, as you can see here, it shows you the period, the property. Under property, you see the owner's name, and then you see the amount due for this period. And then you have the option for a payment one by one, and then you have an action button, right? So this record payment is one by one if you go through this by this record payment button. But the other option is you can click on the bulk payment button, and that will give you all the unpaid, unrecorded line items, and then you'd be able to pay in bulk. So we'll go through that also after explaining this interface. Now you have three tabs here. One is the owner payout due. So due means you haven't paid this amount to the owner yet. So there is no recorded payment for these items. Okay, it says money owed, right? Then owner payout due amount 0. Now, then there are two tabs kind of pretty much says the same thing. However, if you see, it says amount 0. So previously, we were not creating any owner line items, owner payout items that has a 0 balance. That's, if you don't have to pay anything to the owner, so we were not creating those items. But later on, we got requests that if it is necessary to create the invoice anyway, even though there is nothing to pay to the owner. So that's why this tab is introduced. So if you have you have a management fee, you don't have to pay any management fee, but you want to see the disbursement report and quickly, so there will be a view that will show all the 0 payout items in this tab. The last tab, owner payout completed, gives you all the line items that you have already paid, right? So if you pay an item in this section, if you record a payment to the owner, then that will be moved to this owner completed section. Now, if you don't see any data in this interface, then just click on this load item, and that will show you the items that you have paid. As you can see, it has the cycle date, cycle end date, period, property, amount paid. This is the amount you have paid, right? And then action item also shows you the different actions that you can do. So in the action item, as you can see, you can go to the rent and disbursement report directly for this period, right? You can also go from disbursement report and then selecting the property and the month. However, this gives you the direct access. It gives you the direct, like, access to the report. And you can also check the relevant related management fee invoice for this period. Also, the transaction that happened for this item. So if I click on this, then it gives me the option, the, like, accounting transactions that happened for this amount. So let's go to the owner payout due section. So in this case, what we see that line item. So this report is for, let's say, we'll talk about the second one, 11th April to May, 10th May. So if you see the cycle, that starts from the 11th April to 10th, right? So this setting, the cycle start and end date, is determined by the management fee settings, management fee settings that you do in this management fee settings section. So there is a separate video for that. If you haven't seen that, then I highly recommend that you go and check it out, how to set up the management fee cycle date and how it actually works, right? But in this case, we know that we have set the management fee cycle date at 11 April, right? So that's why the system generated the period from April of 11th April to 10th of May, right? That's how it calculates 1 day less than the actual cycle start date. Now it shows the property 542 Rod, and there are 3 owners listed for this property. Okay, and in this month, in this period, looks like the property manager has to give $390.90 to the owner, right? And nothing has been paid, and total due is also, it shows like, $399. Okay, so now your question could be, okay, how did you come to this? How did the system come to this number, right? So what happens is, based on the management fee settings that we from here, on the specific day, which is the 11th of each month, when the cycle start date, our system checks, like, all the income, expenses, owner invoices. Then it checks how much you are going to charge to your owners for to managing the property. After all this calculation, it generates the management fee. It generates a management fee invoice. It closes the management fee invoices, and then it does so many other things that that's a separate discussion. And also we explained that in the other video, invoice video, and there are a few other videos that we explain all this. So I highly recommend that you check it out, the invoice video, and also how to set up the management fee configuration video. This 2 videos is very important for this. So check those out, and then you'll understand how this is working. So now, based on this, all this calculation, system generates this line item every month. So if you have 100 properties or 1,000 properties, right? So there will be 1,000 line items created in this view if there is a due for the owner. Okay, so now let's check it out how it's generated, right? So on the cycle date, which in this case it was 11th of each month, the system ran and did the calculation. First of all, what it did, it created this management fee invoice. Okay, so in this management fee invoice, it created the amount based on the settings. It also give you, so in the memo, it automatically puts the also puts the notes, like how it came up with, and it also shows you that a payment has been logged using auto. So this was automatically closed by the system on the same at the same time it's created it, is because it found that there are enough rent collected in this period for this property that will cover the management fee of 135 and 60 cents. Because it has that knowledge of that it can cover this cost, it kind of went ahead and closed this invoice for you so that you don't have to close it. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Now, once once this management fee invoice is generated, that means it's also have done other calculations behind the scene, and based on all the pluses and minuses, it came up with this number. Okay, so you can still say that, okay, I only got to know about $165, which is your management fee, right? But then the number doesn't still add up. So to see if the number adds up, you have to go to the rent and disbursement report for this month. Okay, so we'll go there in a second. But before I do that, sometimes you might see that, okay, so I don't see the owner payout items in this section. I don't see that. So the possibility could be that you are checking this before your cycle date. So if your cycle date for the property 542 revenue is 11th of each month, and you are checking this interface on the 10th of the month, then you're not going to see that because system has not generated the invoice and all other calculation. Haven't done that yet, right? So you're not going to see the line item in here. So wait for your cycle date to come, and then this line item will show up automatically for you for all the properties. Those are set to run on the specific day that you're looking at. Okay. So now let's go to rent and disbursement report for 542 Rod Avenue on 11th April as the cycle start date. Now, if I go here, if I come to the rent and disbursement report, as you can see, it shows the month and it shows the property. It also shows that's the period for this selection. In this disbursement report, as you can see, this report is for April and for property 542 Rod Avenue, and it shows you the period. Even though it says the April is the month where we are generating the invoice for, but the actual period is from April 11th to May 10th, right? And we are showing this information pretty much in different places, so that your owner is not confused. Okay, what does it mean by April? And then you're talking about the whole period. See, the concept of this report is like, when you are generating this report, you are giving this to your owner, you are giving this report to the end of the month, right? After all the calculation. So even though, like, you are doing the April calculation, ultimately you are giving this report at the end of the month. So end of the month, in this case, you have chosen that, okay, I am going to report all about April on the 11th of May, right? So that's how the system is thinking, and that's how system is generating the report. So you have income on May 1st, so which means it will include the May 1st rent. You might have expenses on May 3rd. You might have expenses on May 9th, and you might have an income on May 7th as well, right? So all this income and expense will be calculated on May 11th, and the report will be generated. And this is what it did in this case. So in this case, as you saw on the interface main list view, the property address is 542 Rod. There are three owners, and it's giving you the breakdown of the revenues. In this case, rental income was 5,100. Then year-to-date calculation, it shows 540, 5,100 as well. This column, it's you can, if you want to hide this column entirely from your owners, you can click on this and this column will be hidden. If you want to bring it back, then just toggle between this eye. So revenue shows all the income that all the rental incomes plus any other income that you want to share with the owner, right? So in invoice video, we have explained how you can share income with the owner. So the income could be like, charges to the tenant for hydro bill, for parking, and you want to share those information, share those income with the owner. So you can create a reimbursable invoices. And when you create those reimbursable invoices, and those amount will show up in here in the revenue section. Disbursement is all about expenses. So expenses for the owner. So this is the expenses for the owner. So management fee is an expense for the owner. That's has it has a special a meaning. So you are managing the property. That means you are going to charge something. So that's your management fee. If you have taxes, it will show up. If you have if you have provided your tax number, it will also show up, and your tax code or tax percentage of tax shows up here. That brings you the that shows the total management fee for this month for this property, right? Now, how this is calculated, again, this is, you have to go back to the management fee settings video that explains how this number comes from this amount. Okay. Expenses, reimbursable expenses is expenses that owner you have done for this property in that cycle, and any kind of owner invoices that you have created. So see, if for if some plumber works to fix a sink for the property, right? So you created a bill for that, and when you create a bill, you can reimburse that the total amount from the owner. So that will show up in this section. So in this case, looks like it's 100% reimbursable bill was created of $70 that showed up. Then the third item, it was a owner invoice creator. So owner invoice is a charge to the owner. So that's also an expense for the owner. And that's why it shows up under reimbursable expense section. And this gives you the total of the report here. Okay. So if you see now, your total revenue is $5,330. Then your total expenses, in this case, actually, I should say the total revenue for the owner is 5,330, but total expenses for the owner is 14,811 and 30 cents, right? So the balance is now is 94.81. So now, as you can, as you notice, the amount that you see here, it shows that you do not have to pay any or anything to the owner, because because the balance is negative, which means the owner is supposed to pay you this amount, 9,481.30 cents. However, the disbursement item shows up in the due section of 390 $390.90, right? So that doesn't add up. So why is that? Like, why, it's the system did not calculate it properly. So it's not the system did not calculate it properly, is that we have done pretty like some other transactions after the system has generated this line item. So system generated it properly, but we did add some expenses, some income in after the system generated the management fee invoice. So that's why the number doesn't add up. So how do you fix it? So the fix is very simple. So in this case, the disbursement report that you saw, that is the dynamic report that calculates anything as of now, right? But this amount is static. It shows up when our system the ran the report automatically, which was the cycle start date. In this case, 11th of the month, 11th of May, right? So whatever we have done after that, this wasn't updated because this is a static value, right? Now, how do we fix it? I'm going to go there in a second. Before that, so you notice that the disbursement report shows zero amount, which means you don't have to pay anything, right? But here it says 390, and we said that if it's an amount due, then it will show up in this section, amount due section. If there is nothing to pay, then it should come to the owner payout due amount zero section. To recreate the management fee invoice, you need to go to search management fee income, which is this button that shows up at the top right in the owner payout section. If you click on it, choose the month. In this case, it was for April for 2021. The property was 542 Rod Avenue, and we do search. And here we see that the management fee cycle was from 11th April to 10th, and then there was an invoice amount of 5,100, and then collected once at $1,000. So management fee is $100 because the selection, management fee selection, was 10% of collected rental income. So in this case, rental income was $1,000. So that's 10% of $100 is $1,000 is $100 and 30% tax. So your final management fee income is $113, right? So, and it says a fee collected of $113.60 is because there is already a invoice got created, and that invoice was already been closed by the system because it found there is an income of $1,000 for this property, 542 Rod Avenue. And that's why it's closed it. Okay, so system did what it's supposed to do, but we did some kind of other transaction after this invoice was generated on the cycle date. Okay, so the fix is we need to recreate it, and we're just going to recreate it. Okay, so now that you're here and we see that there's an invoice already exists, if there is an, it says that there's already been a management fee invoice, a management fee invoice has already been generated for this month. Okay, so we have option to view it, or we can click the delete and recreate option. So obviously we are recreating it, and I'm just going to click this option. Once the management fee invoice is generated, then it will take you to the details of that invoice. And as you can see here, it's created today, and the amount is paid in full. As you know, we already talked about that, because it knows that there is an income of $1,000, which is greater than the management fee invoice amount. So that's why it automatically closed it for you. So it put the date, the payment date, as the cycle cycle end date for this invoice, right? So as you can see here, the amount is $100, which is the 10% of $1,000 plus HST, and the total amount of $113. So invoice is generated now, and if we go back to the owner payout section, and remember that previously that owner payout item was showing up in this money owed section, and it was for 11th of April to 10th of May. Now it doesn't exist, right? It's because you do not have to pay anything to the owner, as you know we saw before. So ideally, this invoice, this line item should be created in the amount zero section, right? So let's check it out if it's there. Now, if I go there and I do a search for 542 rod, and surely I see that 11 April 2020 to 10th May, a line item is here, it's created, and it says amount due is 0, right? So now let's see how the rent and disbursement report looks like. Now, as you can see in this disbursement report, this is for 542 Rod Avenue for April, and the rent amount is $1,000 collected. If you check on this, then you see that the rent amount shows up as well. Now the rent amount is 1,000, but looks like the tenant paid an extra money, but that's kind of that goes as a tenant credit. This is a separate discussion. You also see that there are some other transactions here, but at the end of all the calculation, this amount $13,218 is the new balance that the owner supposed to pay you, right? So this is now the correct amount. So when it shows that like it's in negative balance, so you don't have to pay to the owner, and that's why the actual line item was showing up in the zero in the middle tab, which is the owner payout due amount 0. Now that we understand this about the concept of this line item, owner payout, and the disbursement report, the invoice. Now let's talk about the payment. How do you pay the owner, right? As you can see right now, there are buttons that it says record payment. So these are individual payment options for each line item. So if you click on one of this button, it gives you two options. One is online payment, one for manual payment. So online payment will only show up if you sign up for the online payment processing in our system. Otherwise, you're not going to see that. So manual payment is like if you have paid the owner through probably bank payment or cash check, whatever it is, then you are just logging the system that yes, we already made the payment. So that's what the manual payment is. So you see the amount is already given. All you had to do is select the method of payment and save it. If you wanted to add some notes, you can do that, but the process is pretty simple. Make sure that you select the date right, and you select the method of payment right, and save it. Okay, so then that line item is now will move to the owner payout completed section. However, imagine like if you have 500 line items every month, you don't want to do one by one, right? So what we did, then we made this bulk payment option. So if you click on this, so you get two options. Again, you'll be able to log multiple items manually, right? So if you click on the manual payment, then again it will give you all the unpaid items, owner payout items in this view. Then you can select the one that you are processing, and you can also change the date. Let's say you paid on 12th, and then it will change all the date for that for all the line items. Again, it's not going to process all the line items. It will only process the one selected, right? And payment method, again, same thing. If you can do individually one by one, or you can just click and change the method of payment, and everything will be changed. So amount. So in here, as you can see, it says that, okay, so I find a mismatch for this line item, right? It says, okay, the static value in the line item shows 733, but in the report amount shows $3,350. So again, why did it happen? Because maybe some of the transactions got created after the management fee cycle date is like a scheduled job, right? So now it's figured that, okay, there are some items. Now it's giving you some kind of hints that, okay, you better take care of it, or you should recreate the management fee invoice for this item and the one that's in red. Okay, so it's a clear indication. You definitely need to check it out before you process this payment. Okay. So if you still want to go ahead, you still have the option to go ahead. But if you don't want to go ahead, just uncheck this option and just process the one that is that has no complaint. Right. In this case, 100 Eagle sheet has seems to be good. So then you record the payment. Okay. So then all of the selected line items will be moved to the payment section. So this is straight just recording the payment. You have made the payment outside of our system. The other option is, if you click on the bulk payment, you can go to the online payment section, and same thing, it will give you all the line items for the payment. But if you notice, there is one less item here. The reason is that for that one item, there is no bank information of it didn't find any bank information for that owner. And because of that, it is not showing here. Okay. So what can you do? So again, it also gives you the option to kind of like, it shows that there are mismatches between the amounts. So please check it out. Right. So there's nothing to pay because you need to tackle all of this. And once you rerun your management fee, you recreate the management fee invoice, then you can come back and process these items. Okay, so that's how you do the bulk payment manually or through our system. And if you process through our system, there is 3 business days holdover. So if you pay now, so the business day, 3 business days will start from tomorrow. So the owner will get the money in basically 4th day from now. All right, so that's all about the owner payout. So if you have any questions about the process and how can we improve this in this whole owner payout cycle, please let us know, and we'll be happy to adjust our process to make things better for you. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope to bring you more videos like this in the future. Thank you.